this hold it down squad. It's still a ton of names versus 0 established names comparatively.
We're going to be going on to Cursed Hollow, the Tassadar band. Now, do we see a first pick Dahaka? Or will a Nubarak reign supreme? I'm saying Dahaka at this point.
I would agree. You think about the damage amp or the armor reduction you get later on, the global, the solo lane, the CC. He just provides so much for the team.
The fact that they're not locking in on a Nubarak, yeah, they had to be debating the Dahaka, and I think that is a really good call.
Yeah, I can't knock it one bit. So Genji, a Nubarak seemed like the likely pickups for sure when you just look at the scale. But I wonder if they'll prioritize D.Va again. The D.Va looked really good, but D.Va is particularly good on shrines. Just the way that she exists, the way that she can pressure. Not saying she isn't valuable for fighting over tributes. I'm just really curious how Players Unknown will put her in their priority list. There she is.
Pretty high.
D.Va Genji.
And give up a Nubarak.
That's actually insane. But
Nubarak, I wonder if we might see some Li Ming action from Crowan. Again, poke damage against D.Va works really, really well, and we've seen Crowan just wreck people from that back line with skill shots. Just humor me for a minute, but I've sometimes wondered with D.Va, especially on Cursed Hollow, this is going to be, I'm going to get probably some really awkward feedback, but what if you went the extra long blow up at level 7, the nuclear option? You have 7 seconds to channel a tribute.
yeah,
Or risk taking a lot of damage. Is that crazy?
honestly, that could be really good. It creates just such a big nope space on the map. And I'd love to see something like that. Who knows?
It's extra damage, so you don't necessarily willingly walk into it. The only person I can see.
It hurts.
Dahaka could be like, I'll just burrow right here. I'm fine, but I'm thinking.
It will be a Nubarak and the Genji, so that gives us McIntyre on Dahaka, Ishbu on Nubarak, Crowan on Greymane. So Arthlon and BBJ, the two to still consider their heroes here for the side of Hold It Down.
They've given up top tier meta heroes for a D.Va and a Genji. It's a tricky thing. I think that Abathur, when you already have the Dahaka, you might be lacking a little bit of certain damage, but Greymane Clone is terrifying. Dahaka already has that global presence, and when Dahaka's in a one lane, Abathur can be doing other things. This might be a Zagara pickup.
JL loves that Zagara hype train, and you know, if there's a case for it, it is Cursed Hollow. It's such a large map. The creep is super valuable, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be your solo lane bully. They still need the solo lane. D.Va technically can fulfill that role. Do they respect it enough?
You know who beats Dahaka 1v1 in a lane?
Who's that?
Zagara.
Yeah.
But with the Illidan ban, I think that, again, to the point that I made earlier, is that there's only one real hero that can give you that instant, I think something's wrong, I'm going to die moment. And it's Illidan on Zagara, if you're playing Zagara.
Well, they banned the Abathur, not the Zagara. So the Zagara is very much still an option. I don't know if they have to lock it in right now. If they don't want to, they could save that for their last pick still. They do, however, need to decide on a warrior and a support also. Diva not going to be a lone tank. She is very much the bruiser, middle of the road role. Almost surprised she's not considered multi-class. I guess the multi-classification they want you to commit to in Ultimate that fundamentally changes the hero, but Big Shot doesn't really do that. Diablo, again, they're sticking to the Diablo double warrior so far. I don't know if it'll be triple warrior, but they're leaving that on the table.
I must say, Crux played a lot of Johanna during the first season, and it seems like he's a big fan of Diablo. Diablo on this map has a lot of terrain to queue into to get those charges in.
Especially around tributes.
Oh, yeah. So Diablo, while he might not be top tier in a lot of other ways, when it comes to those team fighting moments, getting that queue into a wall, especially devastating charge at 13, does some serious damage.
Final two picks, Arthalon and BBJ. Support options. I mean, we always talk about lack of cleanse, but Malf is still a thing. And you've got plenty of, got the double tank already to help support Malfurion. BBJ, we know he loves Malf. Old Malf, new Malf, doesn't matter. For Arthalon, would he play Zagara? I don't know, Tychus. So this could be Arthalon and Greymane. And
it could be, yeah.
Tychus for Crowan and Karazim for BBJ, who doesn't play a ton of Karazim, especially on this map.
I must say that Zagara is a lot less appealing with this composition of the dive potential of Anubarak, Karazim, and Greymane with a flanking Dahaka. Zagara would be pretty terrifying to play unless you just plan to split soak the entire game.
Man, we're cutting Tychus again without Beachbody.
Give me Falstad here.
Oh wait, they might have to swap. I wonder if Arthalon has Beachbody. If anyone would have Beachbody skin, it's Arth. So if they swap heroes,
Falstad gives you the global. It gives you the anti-dive of we're worried about this, so we're going to gust you away. Gives good boss control. We haven't seen any Tyrael, but I guess they're going to go Lunara.
There's not a ton of dive. She's got to be worried about the race car zipping through the bushes.
I think there's a ton of dive. If Anubarak, so Anubarak's level 4 talent, we've seen a lot of Beta Barbs tonight, but if he goes the one where you get the more range, and Dahaka flanks in, that's scary.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a matter of, do they pick that and are they willing to commit to it? But if you're a Lunara, you highly, highly consider leaping strike. So if Dahaka does flank, you just jump over him and get on out of there.
Tournament point, ladies and gentlemen. Only one team can take home that first place prize money and the first place points here in the HGC Open Division. 1 cup of 7 that will be happening through the rest of the year. And let me tell you, first place, if I'm not mistaken, it's double the points of second place. It is heavily weighted. If not, it's at least 50% more. And it counts for so much. For a team like Players Unknown to show up and be in a position where they could be taking home that first place prize money and points, that is awesome. And I'm so excited for this Game 3.
I'm excited because Hold It Down has been dominant up until now, but we're going to see if they can hold it down for one more game to take home the championship. BBJ will be on Karazim, Crowan on Greymane, Arthalon on Tychus, Ishbu on Anubarak, McIntyre on Dahaka.
Their opponents, Players Unknown. They've got Cripsy here playing the Diva, Indy Bear on Rhaegar. It looks like it's going to be Apex on that Lunara. Crux playing the Diablo, and Mysticles rocking the Cobalt Blue Genji, I think it's called. Maybe it's just Cobalt.
I will say this. Players Unknown has terrible wave clear. Terrible wave clear.
That is a good point. And already they're feeling that.
They have 3 people without mounts, by the way.
Yeah.
They're all just moving so slowly through there.
I mean, technically, Rhaegar is a mount, but he's a little bit slow.
But do you just rotate this composition around and say, just have
they
fun
got
chasing
2
us around the
towers
map?
for free. It seems like that's the battle plan. just abuse the O-Fish, I guess, trio up here.
Come back and fight.
Cripsy loses his mech. Arthlon putting on some heavy damage. He is playing the Tychus, which I wasn't sure if we were going to see. I'm really disappointed in the lack of the beach pod. No passion.
Well, a slight experience lead here on the side of Hold It Down, but not much to write home about at the moment. Tychus going to rotate to the middle, make sure he gets a bit of soak there. Just walked right up to him, took a couple shots, and we'll trade.
We'll trade. Yeah, well, just kind of the standard normalization. Well, not really. Rhaegar's in position to grab this, then fall back to the camp, which spawns in 6 seconds. He should start that. Can solo that with these. Grayman will do the same. So the wolves into the woods to grab some mercenaries. Good for them. Arth thought about tapping, and then he's like, you know what? I can save that for a more crucial moment when we're fighting over the tributes. A nice call, because it is a long cooldown when you tap the well.
I mean, it's small things like that that can make a world of difference. And it's going to be down in the bottom middle here in 10 seconds. So the top siege camps are going to be far more valuable pushing that top lane. So I'm actually a little bit surprised. I want to see teams start to not capture their siege camp. Just sit on it, wait to see where the tribute goes. And then if it's the opposite lane, pick it up. Unless you're afraid it's going to get backdoored, just roll with it. Leave it there.
All right, well, just roll with it, I guess. They give it up. They're pushing out top, trying to even the top lane situation, if not taking advantage. Mac will get the drag. Oh, does the drag not connect? Or
I'm going to be honest with you, I was watching the mini-map.
Okay. Fair enough.
When you said the drag, I'm like, wait a minute, Dahaka's up there all of a sudden.
Cripsy does have self-destruct at the ready. Experience dead even still. Just trying to get those siege giants pushed on in. You do see the fallen, or I keep saying fallen shaman for some reason. The bruiser camp, the knight camp being picked up on the right side by Rhaegar, and now the same is happening here on the left side of the map. So knights in the mid will brawl for a moment as we wait for the second tribute, which should be spawning momentarily.
I think there's a misconception with Lunara having good wave clear. Lunara does not have good wave clear.
I mean, if you go Thornwood, it's definitely fine as long as you catch the wave when it's linear in motion.
It's not until 7 where you have any respectability in terms of wave clear. So. But we're going to have our second tribute. It's going to be at the top left this go-round. The Dahaka does get the tongue, but the instant booster onto that will disconnect that. So we'll have our second fight, and this one will definitely be contested as players unknown make their way over.
Okay, Cripsy. Burrowing. Ishbu tried to get the predictive burrow charge at the end of the Swirling Diva. And self-destruct will disrupt their attempts towards Arthlon is secluded away from his team and steps on into the point as that mech is resummoned. Genji immediately dashes on him, and Arthlon pays dearly with his life, trying to find the trade on the Crux, who shadow charges BBJ to the side and manages to stay alive. McIntyre, ooh, he's got the burrow, but doesn't matter. No.
You remember what I said about Diva on Infernal Shrines about the minute one person finds themselves on the wrong side of the tribute, you just blow up the mech and isolate them?
That's exactly what we saw there. But Arthlon didn't have to step in there, and I think that was a big mistake.
He could have ran the other way.
He could have ran the other way, or he could have waited. They didn't have vision on him. He could have waited. He stepped into basically a terrible situation.
Agreed. Well, we have tributes 1-1, a slight experience advantage because of those 2 kills to 0 in favor of players unknown. I just wonder what's next. Is 10 going to be here quick enough for both teams? Is that fort's going to help bridge the gap in experience? But we'll be at the top right. Favorable for players unknown.
favorable for them. They just picked up a giant camp that's going to be pushing down the bottom lane. Another victory. Yes, Dahaka does exist, and he is in the bottom already, so he can hang out for a bit. It looks like we do have Crone and BBJ going for in this camp. Are they conceding this point? Dahaka, scouted out by this. He's going to get the impale. Oh, Indy Bear. Fish and mailed.
A little late on the reaction there, but
regardless, they get it. And 10 to 10.
Yeah, the camp and the Dahaka soak allowed them to get catch up a little bit in terms of that experience. So, Thornwood Vines scares me. A Dahaka flank and a dive, and you don't have the mobility of Leaping Strike. I mean, I think Thornwoods will be really good poke, and it can really deny tributes, and you can spread some damage. But, you know, Kharazim AoE heals, so those are decent heals. And then again, you run into the fact of if Dahaka flanks behind you, you now lack all reasonable mobility to get away.
Yeah, and that could be costly. But so far, the control options of Diablo and D.Va have seemed strong. Apex is, I don't think he's died yet. Let us scan there. He has not died yet. Only D.Va's mech has died. Actually, I could have just looked at the top of the screen. Because they have 0 kills to the 2 of Players Unknown. Tribute spawning. This is Curse Point for Players Unknown. And Dahaka will be the last one to make his way to this point. You heard the Curse Bullet zipping and zopping into Crux's belly. But does it matter? Is it enough?
This could be a pretty decisive moment. The tongue used on to D.Va, who's instantly going to use the explosion, but Crux going in, not able to flip Arthalon over into the explosion. So we're going to have a reset here in terms of the fight. Cripsy trying to do some zoning. Cursed Bullet just about back up, but McIntyre again trying to find a spot.
Thornwood Vine is getting these targets low, and Mysticles has Dragon Blade available. So, so far I'm really liking the strategy. Just trying to stop Cripsy. Okay, he actually roots in with the bunny hop. Oh, nice Apocalypse following up. So many low targets. Palm and Crowan not even gonna get triggered. The mech goes down for D.Va, but she's got so much DPS behind that. BBJ and Crowan are so very low, and Genji is cleaning them up.
Mysticles, the legend, going in there and diving the back line, and he got the reset and got another one. Oh my.
Snap starting the boss. Players Unknown are playing this so well. Fear their D.Va.
The D.Va Diablo combo right now is terrifying. They're going to get this boss and the curse. Although Tychus, we got to keep an eye on the boss. Tychus is in a... Okay.
All right.
They're fighting on it. Ancestral's been used. Ishmu is on the point, but he has no escape. Diablo trying to push him off, but in comes Mysticles. But the cocktail doing some damage, but right now, Nubarak the first one down. In comes the mech explosion.
Ooh, it's going to do so much DPS. McIntyre just gets annihilated. The boss will be picked up. They get 2-for-1 heroes in the trade. Curse is active. The lanes are all pushing in. Forts are falling quickly. Players Unknown in a phenomenal situation.
They are impressing. The more this series goes on, we're looking... Oh, Crux just missed the flip there. But this could be a keep and should be a keep. I take that back. The boss still working on the fort. He'll make his way here soon. Cocoon, though, has been used, but that's going to be quickly cleared. But Apex is now the target.
Cripsy doesn't have stuff to start quite yet. Tychus does die in the back. BJ with Palm on himself with the buddy hop, disrupting this space. Looks like they're going to find another kill, this time on BBJ, as Palm was still on cooldown, and that is a 10-minute keep, J-How.
This might be game. This boss is at 100% health, and they don't have the necessary damage to deal with this. Odin is still 5 seconds away from...
Look at top lane, too.
They have to fight.
Top lane is completely pushed in. Ishmu, body blocked by Genji. He goes down. Oh my goodness, J-How.
This is happening. The boss starting to work on the shields. It's a very early boss, so it doesn't do a lot of damage. You've got to focus it down. Crowan is working on that, but Mysticles going over, trying to put the pressure on. The shields are down. The core is starting to fall.
Players Unknown coming out to the first cup and showing everyone what is up. The DPS, the mech, try to get dragged into the base. The core is falling, and they upset, hold it down in one of the most explosive fashions imaginable.